let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this.
This styrofoam cooler lid has been stuck in a loop, flowing down this current to be pushed off to the left and get stuck in that little nook there, and then eventually pushed off back upstream into this current here. Oh, and this time might be different. Oh, I think it made it out. Sometimes we just need a witness when we're stuck in the loop. How's that like your life?
Pull up on me. Pull up on me. For real, if y'all want to pull up on me, pull up on me.
Welcome to HoodHippie Universe's Dreamers Anonymous. Hood up! Here we come. In the currents and inertias of our ancestry, of the moments, the confluences, the intersections, the co-creations that brought us here. Sometimes we get twisted and turned in circles. But the current is always on our way to the sea.
There's a core orientation in life towards what I call belonging, towards like the whole, towards being part of something big. There's so much division and so much lack of behaving in a way that acknowledges that we're all connected with one another. You know, you think about a system is a bunch of different individual parts, but what makes it a system is the nature and the quality of the relationship between all of those parts.
Okay. Dragon, a unicorn, and a sloth bear all walk into a Zoom room. What's the punchline?
Tell him, President!
What position you taking?
Look at me, I'm evolving. I'm evolved. Watch, I'm evolving. Look at me evolving. Yeah, flying through time and space. Yeah.
I wonder who else around the world has unicorns in their mythology, because I know a lot of folks have dragons.
Oh, I once read that actually the creation of a unicorn was gaslighting for a type of whale that had a horn on its head, and it notoriously avoided European explorers and scientists. And so they started talking about it as this magical creature and moved it from the ocean to the forest. I don't know if that's a true...
Narwhals.
When I read that, I was like, they really thought it wasn't real because they couldn't capture it, because they couldn't write it in their science. I was like, so this is a resistance whale is what I'm hearing. It's mythical because you couldn't attain it. That's crazy. If that's what it was, I know what I was reading that in. Undrowned.
I was about to ask.
Yeah, Undrowned by Alexis Pauline Gumbs. And I was like, this is, that's how they begin us, man. Like, Black girl magic, but we're also real. Like, we're also so.
If you're real with me, I'll be real with you. Yeah. Readjust yourself. I am made of millions and billions of memories of atoms from my childhood and from my world that was here when I arrived. You taught me these things that you believed and forced me to believe it too, and I undid it because I am me and you are you, and I hope that it works out for you as you are you, and I will have everything that is for me, and I hope that you hope that it works out for me because I believe in you, and I believe in me, in my abilities, and my love and light is real. Feel me?
To start our HoodHippie Universe Dreamers Anonymous meeting,
we check in with folks trying to wake up.
I've been homeless in the dream and trying to get to rest since I was a cottonseed in the garden of a family in tropical West Africa before time. I'm on Ohlone Chochenyo occupied unceded territory.
Yeah.
Just knowing that before 1400, there were about 5,000 people on this land. Most of them were Ohlone Chochenyo, and in this region, about 18,000 people.
My legs are shaking.
Tell him, President.
It's the expanse. It's the expanse.
Tell him, President.
And now in 2021, there are about 440,000 people on this land. 43% are descendants of European settlers. So there has been a spiritual demographic shift from this being a Ohlone land as it was a few centuries ago to as it was now. And I try to remind myself of that as I get sensitive about the way Oakland is shifting in my lifetime, just remembering that it has shifted so much for the people who are native to this place, especially as I call myself an Oakland native, just being aware of that. And I come from a neighborhood called Acorn.
Acorn back, Acorn back. I'ma stay solid, mobbing and keeping it lit. Nigga, you might be on, but you ain't on like this.
Named after Acorn projects, but acorns was harvested and collected by the Ohlone before the Spanish brought almonds. So all of that, that's where I am right now, feeling really good this morning. I did some yoga. I had a meditation. I made some Japanese matcha tea, and now I'm here with y'all. So I really grounded myself this whole morning before diving into work, and that was so important. So I feel really good.
Anyone who's interested in making change in the world also has to learn how to take care of herself, himself, their self.
And I'm also very cozy in this pink rainbow unicorn onesie that is fleece, I believe, so incredibly soft and warm. And I basically live in it. Like, there's already holes in it because I wear it so much. So I'm really happy to be cozy and on Zoom with you all. I feel like I always have to start with my parents. My mom always says she's glad we chose her. And I think it's absolutely true. My whole experience is so rooted in who my parents wanted to be, who my parents were, who they wanted to give us space to be. And so as I think about making my life and the decisions I make on a daily basis, I'm like, wow, this is so much about my parents and their parents and their parents and all the different spiritual, economic, social mobility choices that they made for me to be able to be here, for me to consider being on a Zoom in a onesie as part of my work that I'm as part of the time that I could spend my professional life. Like, this is what it is. And I was thinking this morning before this call, my dad says that I do two things, that I make white people cry and that I do made up things on the computer. And that's not my job description, but that's what he says about my job, because he doesn't always understand all the different things that I do. And I realized my grandfather has no idea what an anthropologist does. He doesn't know what an archaeologist does. Like, he didn't understand what my dad was doing as a PhD, but he knew he needed to do it, even if he couldn't explain it or understand it fully. And so I'm just recognizing that those freedoms have been passed down to me, for me to be like, this is what I want to spend my life doing. This is what I define my work as. This is what is important to me.
I said I wasn't gonna cry.
I got my granddaddy.
And granddaddy got you in his arms finally. Love you so much.
Tell him, President.
I got to hold my baby in my hands.
Talking about positionality, for example, the fact that I can bring that into a space as a professional endeavor is because of my parents, Opal Palmer Adisa and Tariq Farrar. And the fact that I was raised in Oakland in this diverse artist, academic, intellectual, community-oriented, Afrocentric community. And so everything that I do has a lens to Africa.
Oh, Babaluaye, Babaluaye.
Like, as the source of all humans, but as Black humans especially. And so my focus on Blackness is really about just like understanding humanity and modernity, and that also impacts my reality. The fact that I am identifiably Black, identify as Black.
Black, y'all, and I'm Black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm Black, y'all.
And positionality is largely about how society sees us and how we internalize those identifiers and what privileges they are, but also what trauma they can cause. Like, having to identify as a Black woman is also an identification with trauma, with forced prescription of identity, with mobility, with the ocean, you know, so all of the ways that I am identified as a Black woman come with these traumas and this external marginalization. But also, it's one of the reasons why I feel like I'm so powerful. I'm like, I'm a Black woman. I can do anything.
Fall in your ways so you can.
You know, so even as I understand it in the world as creating challenges and barriers for me, because the system doesn't adhere to my spirit, I know in my spirit, I don't think of it as something that is negative or debilitating. And so my reality is both what I'm thinking about spiritually and the systems that either try to crush that, suppress that, or erase that. And so I'm constantly trying to project my spirit into the systems, to transform the systems so that they are not crushing, debilitating, marginalizing, disenfranchising. And so that's where I'm coming from with positionality. And that's where I try to come from on a daily basis when I'm doing this work, recognizing it as a privilege, but also recognizing it as necessary, and knowing that my ancestors, my parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents who came before me, and my aunts and uncles and great uncles and cousins all did what they did so that I could work towards this freedom more than they could. So I'm really grateful for that. And I've been sitting in that space for some time now.
It feels really powerful. I feel like there's something, and letting positionality be the outside view and our like navigation of that projection, and then finding like ways to empower ourselves in that process. Like actually then it's like letting our bodies, our experience transform that which has been put on and in us.
I love the way that you spoke to positioning yourself in your spirit, that as an intergenerational placement, as connected to your family, to all that comes with your family, the lands, the cultures, the peoples, the history, the future, the now, and recognizing the ways that the external world often is not about our spirit, often seeks to extract it or harm it, and being oriented in a place of your own spirit, and that depth of connection and positionality as a means to meeting, transforming through the necessary privilege, you said, of being yourself and bringing your purpose to this world as a transformational act. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. How have you learned to like resource, to keep moving, to let the gift of Black womanhood show up in this place?
Dancing with my friends. It's so funny because I think it was either earlier this year or at the end of last year, my 80-year-old godmother was like, I was cleaning out my studio, she's a photographer, and I found your mother's PhD dissertation. Do you want it? I was like, sure. And it's like 3 volumes. And completed this dissertation the year after I was born. And it was so interesting reading it because there were so many things I was like, wow, this is where I get it from. And you sort of know, but you don't know until you see or understand your parents to be in a similar place as you at that time period when you were not able to be conscious of that. And she wrote something like, through dance, we know ourselves and we dance and we heal. And I was like, oh, so there's no surprise that I have a spiritual, deep, like stress releasing connection to dance as not only necessary for my emotional function and continuity, but as a form of resistance and taking up space and announcing that you're here and you're free and you're gonna move to whatever moves you. So dancing is one of those things that I realize without that, I would not be able to move through this world. I mean, I have dance parties in the kitchen with the dog, you know, since I can't do too much since we're still in this pandemic. But one of the things I realized that I really did miss was dancing with large groups of people, some of who I know, some of who I don't know, and just having that collective energy and release where hopefully there's no judgment, there's no restrictions, there's no rules of how you need to do it. You just do it. that helps. That helps. And I think also reading things that bring into the fold multiple time periods is existing right now. I don't want to call it history because history has so much baggage behind it as an institution, but just knowing that where we are now has been created over time through many pathways. So to undo this, we have to do it over time through many pathways.
Freedom Day come. Freedom Day come. First it took them 2 years. Then it took them 200 years. But Freedom Day come.
What's wrong with that word?
Tell them about it. Tell them about it.
Tell them, President.
What you really mean? What's really explain that freedom?
Yeah.
That you're talking about?
The other day when someone asked me about this, my answer was union. And that's what freedom feels like to me. It's like a free-flowing union between all things.
Tell them, President.
Put your butt in this seat. It's your seat. This seat is you. You're the president. Liberationist president, welcome.
Tell them, President.
It took us. It took the planets. It took the ancestors and the descendants. It's here now. It's here now. Freedom Day is here
Tell
now.
them, President.
Freedom Day is here now. You here now? You here? You here? You here?
And that's a good reminder to me, like, oh, this was created in this moment because of these political, social, environmental processes. So we could uncreate this. We can transform this. We can redesign it because it has been designed. So that also gives me a sense of continuity because it just reminds me that our memories are so short, humans, on this billion-year-old planet, 4.5 billion years. You know, our memories are so short. So having time not be linear, but instead be all present at all the time helps me remember that we can decide what we're gonna do and how we're gonna do it differently.
This web has been here for a while now, and Colin accidentally walked through it this afternoon. And as we return in the evening, the homie is already rebuilding. Rebuilding. What you rebuilding? This is for my spider people. This is for my web, weavers, storytellers, dream believers, for my head, leaders, heart followers, the leaders, gallons, tons, hounds all around for the tweeters and the woofers, geekers, the squeaky sneakers in the slow motion flash mob, evolution teeters, for the tots tipping meters, for the elders who will leave us with a free spirit. The spirits like to party, hard times made us hardy, made us figure out who are we, let them feed us, meet us, easy, nothing beat us, bobbing to the sounds of the sweet sun that heats us. Let it keep us warm, smiling like a Jesus who was never appropriated by the Roman state who cheats us out of God, of our own, in the truth, in our souls. Let us weave us back in as the world unfolds. For my spider people, Itomi, Anansi, pluck on the threads and the whole world's got me like, yeah.
Introducing Decolonization for Dreamers.
Introducing Decolonization for Dreamers, y'all.
Feel me? So we are wrestling with the bodies of colonization?
and honoring the struggle together and within. Look at this, homie. This how big they are. Look at that shit. Woo-hoo-hoo. What's up, dude? Your leg is messed up. I wish I could help you. Are you Brown LaCruz? Maybe. Can I help you? Yeah! Was that helpful? Yeah, we got that off, right? That's good, my dude.
This is an interdisciplinary, multimedia, live, asynchronous, online, year-long training. It means you can't miss it, because it's there for you when you need it. You get to find your way with us.
And come as you are.
Increasingly over the last half decade and sort of fully in the last several years, really all my work has been about how we weave our disconnected awareness back into nature, back into belonging, back into attention to relationship.
It's what's possible on acreage.
How do you cultivate belonging here? How do you like ground into this place?
Mm.
The difficulty isn't a lack of information. The difficulty is old wounds and really stressed relationships between people who've been on the opposite sides of things, who have real trouble listening and seeing each other's perspectives. That's sort of the biggest threat / the biggest opportunity, is rediscovering our belonging.
Yeah, good question. I think, for me, belonging I experience as sort of an orientation, and it begins with the feeling with an internal orientation to that open channel place. And then it sort of extends out to an orientation like that, where I experience myself as the complex of all the relationships that I'm part of. Like that is the sum of my identity, is the nature and the quality of those relationships. So it's like I am the system to which I belong.
My connection with everything, that I'm part of nature, that's really my value. It's not like my job or anything about me. It's just my relationships and what I'm a part of that make my life meaningful.
And I'm also me, but I'm like I can't feel myself without feeling the system.
This is for the torture that let us know the bliss connection that shows us what we miss for the moment. Mind took a look at heart, had to back up to see the vision for the art, for the wars fought to destroy the distance between you and I, for the blinking eye, an instance when gaps bridge, when hate sees love not as nemesis but genesis. Then everything is of the center of the universe that lives inside of you, immersed in thoughts, feelings, vibrations. So tune in first, you instrument, you're instrumental. Note you make us so essential. Work to work it, what you play will make the band go on. The temples counted by stars, hearts, planets, motors, traffic, rivers. Damn it, everything's in swing, push and pull on the pendulum. Can you be the finger holding string at the end of them? Yeah. Yeah.
From those orientations, then I'm in a place to sort of listen for, feel into, track where there are requests from the system to which I belong.
Paint the town. Look at this everywhere you turn.
Hey guys, if you guys...
Private property is a desecration. We are here to return to our way of village, to our way of tribe, to our way of United Nations, United Tribes, coming back together, red, black, white, and yellow, black-led, indigenous-led. We need a red, black, and green New Deal, and that's what we're practicing and embodying.
Hey! Cannot go green without red, black, and green! Hey!
The only currency is love. If we put the work in, if we remember our relationship to the land.
This our universe now. This our universe. The truth is being revealed. It always has been. Somebody tried to pull a Jack move, but it's not in the order of the planets anymore, cuzzo. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Tell him, President.
I think one of the most potent wounds of our collective past, trauma on people, was the creation of race as a concept. Like this idea that there is an other that is not you, that's less than. In creating something that disconnects from belonging, it wounded everyone. Those of us who've been oppressed by the othering because we've been told by culture you're less than, we got wounded in this one way, but then those other people who were told you're better than got wounded too, because what you're actually saying is you're only better than because you're white, not you matter because you're an expression of life succeeding since like cells replicated in the ocean. So I think there's like some healing from the collective trauma of the othering of the creation of race that we all need to do in our own ways that will allow us to belong again.
Beloved, you are my beloved. I feel our connection.
There's so many ways that water is just a profound guide for me, like that it is simultaneously shaping and being shaped by the landscapes that it navigates, that it does that so dynamically and so fluidly. It's always in that reciprocity. It's core. And yeah, there's something about trying to constantly get closer to my essential nature that's really part of how I approach my work in the world and part of how I tend to myself simultaneously. So it's a profound guide for both of those things. It's one of the things that makes it most transparent, I believe, how much we are all connected and part of one another. You know, it's like there is no new water. It's all just been moving. You know, in different changing states, moving through time. It's in your body, it's in my body, you know, it's in the river, it's in the sky, you know, forever. I feel like sometimes we culture struggles with understanding in a felt way our belonging, or abstracting experience to the super coarse things that we can measure with science. And I'm like, even if you do that, how can you not like appreciate that this thing is most of us and we share it all in some moment or another? It's just a constant reminder that that I'm part of everything and it's part of me, and we all share, you know, these sort of core elemental components of existence, and that in tending to myself, I am tending to the whole, and that in tending to the whole, I'm tending to myself.
Water so deep, water so wide, water braiding the earth and the sky. Mountains so strong, mountains so tall, lifted by spirit and holding the soul. Let the mountains guide us, and the waters carry our songs back to creation, where we belong. When we free our voices, we free our hearts, breaking chains inside, tearing us apart. Water so deep, water so wide, water braiding the earth and the sky. Mountains so strong, mountains so tall, lifted by spirit and holding us all. Salmon are returning, ancient life in the stars. The light of life inside us is lit by the same spark. When we lose our way, think there's nowhere left to turn. Prayers are all around, we can always return. Water so deep, water so wide, water braiding the earth and the sky. Mountains so strong, mountains so tall, lifted by spirit and holding us all.
Woo! Water from the tree. Water from the tree. I listen to the water, the wind, this earth ancestor with my whole body. With my whole body.
There's no place like home. Click them heels.
This is for two arms open to you. For one I'm holding heaven while the other brings it through. Two hands hold each other, one collects the dew. One feasts on the flies where the Lord of them can view. For the flies, woven as the web from the spider's gut. The rainbow light that casts and shine back so we don't get stuck. For the alchemy of when we eat each other up. Shape shift until we see that what we are is enough. For the flies that eat the shit and break it down to earth. For the spiders eating flies and show the light at work. For the spiders in the skies, in the guts of birds. The cycles transfer eyes till we live as one big herd. This is for the stories that make us flies and spiders. This is for the writers, figure eight the biters. Come on, weave stories so ancient. The future, instant, mystic. Nature goes in circles, spirals, golden means to make ends meet like oceans and streams. With stories and stories and stories tall. If we jump from the stories, will we fly or fall? Yeah.
Keep coming back. It works. It's working. It's hotter these days, but also colder these days. The planet hasn't been so hot since before dinosaurs were here. An entirely different geological point. How many people died that one hot summer in Detroit? The earth has been changed and will now expel the invasive species, but that's not all of we. The Anthropocene wasn't created equally. Dinosaur bones are more valuable than the lungs of children in Flint, or for that matter, Brixton, or for that matter, ice caps are melting in Greenland. When the Nordics first got there, they perished. They subsequently survived because of knowledge from the indigenous population, the Inuits, who understood their island's unique topographical landscape. 300 years later, those same people demonized them for eating seals, the same lack of geographical nuance practiced some 300 years ago. Oh, but we landed a drone on Mars, so. If science is progress, then why does it feel like we need to go backwards in order to reclaim our futures? This must be something about the ancestors who planted seeds with their heels, who drowned in the Atlantic becoming mermaids, whose bones will make up the foundation of continents millions of years from now. The planet will be here, but we will not. We will be just the remnants of stardust, a momentary glimpse in the universe. In 24 hours, humans would be 3 seconds. So we matter because we are matter, created over thousands of years from drops in the universe. We have shaped ourselves alongside the earth, and we have been shaped and damaged and managed alongside the earth, and we have worked and danced and created and modernized alongside the earth, and we will not be freed. We will free ourselves alongside the earth. Ma'un will have water, farmers will have endemic seeds, Kashmir will have itself, Bangladesh will be an entirely different landscape. There will be no world GDP, whatever that means. There will be bioregions, biomaterials, Black people. There will be widespread healing and kale and Hennessy. The futures are literally what we unmake of them. At the moment, Texas is frozen. Throughout colonialism, we have been hearing hundreds of years of warnings. We were listening. What were y'all doing?